6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
Lunchtime. Hi, how are you? What's wrong with your wrist? What's wrong with your wrist? Hi, who's first?
Well, Jay, what kind of update do you have first on Robert's status?
Nothing. He practiced, did everything as usual today. Non-contact, he's okay. No problems. He'll see the neurologist Thursday. And if he gets a clearance there, then he'll be ready to go.
How about Deshaun and some of those guys? Jordan Reed, I saw he was back out there.
Jordan did everything today. He looked good today, so that's exciting. Great progress by him. Deshaun did an individual. The likelihood of him playing is pretty slim. Really the only two guys for sure that I know that are going to be out are Akeem Davis and Frank Kierce. Other than that, we'll take them on a daily basis and make a judgment at the end of the week.
Okay, so that means Junior Gillette has a possibility of playing. Probability? How would you
probability?
Put it at this point?
Yeah, I would say probability.
On Deshaun, when he got that shoulder injury, I believe you said you felt it would be 1 to 2 weeks, depending on his tolerance for pain, and it's well into the third week. Is there anything new or different that's keeping him out, other than just a comfort level, a pain issue?
It's pretty much that. He's got full range of motion, it looks like, out there doing individual drills. But it's another thing if we just don't want to get it hit again on game day. I think doing a non-contact stuff, he looks pretty good. But with shoulder pads on, we're not going to do that until we feel like he's 100%. He's not quite there yet. But that 1 to 2 weeks is obviously to go full go possibly, and then we'll make a decision. But a little bit longer than we thought.
Jay, what happened to Akeem?
Hamstring.
Out for Saturday.
Yeah.
That must be pretty significant.
Yeah, it was a grade 2.
Okay.
Jay, if Robert is cleared and if he does play this weekend, what would you like to see out of him this Saturday to kind of put your mind at ease going into the regular season?
Yeah, first of all, it's not about him. It's about that unit. The first team unit. We got to have better protection out of all of them. And as soon as we start to make it out about one guy, that's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to make this about the first unit. And against Cleveland, they did okay. We got a field goal, missed a big play, and obviously against Detroit, we ran into our fair share of problems. So we'd like to get something positive going with the first unit. Period. With Robert in general. Same thing, just get the ball out of his hands, move the ball, and make good, sound decisions, and everything else, and let the players around him help him.
Jay, to follow up on that, when you mentioned the other day that you want to see the right side of the line have that cohesion and see the receivers come out of the huddle together, why not have the other 10 guys out there with another quarterback? Why not have Kirk go out there with the ones when Robert went out last week, for example?
I don't know. That's how we decided to do it. I think with Corey Lichtensteiger and Sean Laval, I think they were on the same pitch count as our starting quarterback was. That's why.
But when you talk about, you guys have been preaching competition, most protective guys, they're going to play. When you have the other two quarterbacks are producing better than Robert is, any thought to trying one of those guys? And is there a fear of, if you don't, that there's, sending the wrong message to the other guys that, these guys are playing better than them, but we're not really going with the most productive guy?
Well, we have to just make sure we do our best to put Robert in a good place, with the play calls and try to get something going offensively. Hats off to Kirk and Colt. They've taken advantage of their opportunities in the second, third, and fourth quarter and done some great things out here at practice every day. Robert's done some good things out here at practice, and we're judging not just the performance on 3 drives in a preseason game, but the performance through OTA's training camp, and that's why we're going the way we're going. So moving forward, we'd love to have our one unit get some good work in and some positive play. But that's not to say we're not pulling for Kirk and Colt to continue their progress, and the second offensive line, a second group of wide receivers to push for all roster spots.
When Robert comes out on Saturday, which quarterback comes in? How long will that guy go?
That'll be Kirk this week, and we'll make a determination there on game day. Probably third quarter. Probably Colt will finish the fourth, most likely.
And when do you want to make a decision on that and how that depth chart is going to go? You going to do it before the fourth preseason game or just wait until season opener?
Well, we have a great opportunity the fourth preseason game. We'll get, obviously 4 good quarters there. We'll make a decision after that. That decision might not come until Sunday at noon when we have to turn the roster in, the sheet in. So those 2 guys are, I can't speak highly enough of both of them, their competition and their willingness to get better and their professionalism as far as doing what they're supposed to do and learning and getting better.
Jay, you said it's about the first unit as a whole, not just about Robert. How different is that first unit in evaluating it, though, without Deshaun being in there and what he can do to take the top off of defense?
It's different. We feel like we have a good group of wideouts. Crowder hadn't played either. So, and then obviously Trent didn't play left tackle the other day. So, but same thing with the defense. Kerrigan Gillette hasn't played. Brilliant hasn't played. D. Hall didn't play. We've had our share. So does everybody right now this time of year. They're holding people out or keeping people out of games. But it's important. That happens throughout the regular season. We got to get other guys ready to play. Deshaun got banged up 1 game last year. Trent missed a couple games last year. So other guys have to play in those spots. And we can't just sit out the whole offense because the guy's hurt. So we have to continue with our processes, building a football team. And I feel really good about our backups, the way they're coming on, all of them, offense, defense. But Deshaun does make a difference.
Going back to Robert, you talk about how you guys have to put him in a position to help him and all that. What can he do to maybe help himself more?
It's hard to say. Every play is its own entity, and he likes to say he could have done this, could have done that. I think, like I said, from a play calling standpoint, from a quarterback standpoint, we just got to stay out of the negative plays. We had a couple negative runs. We're stuck in 3rd and long a lot. We had a couple sacks that were unfortunate that put us in backed up situations. And any defense that you play in the NFL, 3rd down and 8 to 12 to 13, it's a nightmare. So it's our job to keep us in positive down and distance. It's his job, the line's job, to protect them and not give up those sacks. And we had way too many. I think we're 2nd in the league in giving up sacks last year. We gave up way too many sacks last year, and it's something that we addressed in the offseason. We're going to continue to address and continue to work. Our offensive line, they work their tails off every day, and I have total faith that they're going to come out of this and be a great unit when it's all said and done.
Jay, given some of the issues you guys have experienced this preseason, as a coach, what do you find to be the greatest value of the preseason itself?
I think getting people some quality reps against great opponents, and finding out how they play in game situations without a coach in their ear helping them out at practice. Hey, line up an A gap. Hey, do this. They don't have the coaches on the sideline helping them. You get to see what they know, how they translate what they know onto the field, how fast they play, what kind of effort they play with, and what kind of production they play with. It's pretty evident when you put on the tape who's ready and who's not. And it's important for us to make sure we make good, sound decisions with our 53-man roster moving forward and our practice squad guys. So that's the most value we get.
I know there's always the perpetual debate of how many games do you add 2 games to the schedule. What's your ideal format for how this thing unfolds? Would you prefer to keep 4 preseason games? Do you have any kind of idea or opinion on how that should unfold?
No, I think they're necessary. I just wish the first cut wouldn't have to be until after the 4th preseason game, obviously, because we have a lot of guys out here that have been busting their tails since OTAs, and then to tell 15 of them with the 4th preseason is a great opportunity for them to show what they got, whether we keep them or not. Other teams can look at them, and that's unfortunate, but that'd be the only thing I'd change. I think the games are necessary. I mean, I think you hate to see any injury whatsoever to any player on any team, but we also need the work. And you can't get that out here blowing a whistle quick. You got to see who can tackle, who can break tackles, who can protect the ball, who can react and read. And, I don't know how else to do that unless you're playing.
How is Derek Carrier coming along and learning the offense, and do you envision him taking some snaps from scrimmage on Saturday?
We hope so. Hopefully we'll get a package together where he's comfortable with, so when he's in the game, we know that he knows what to do. But he's a bright kid, and I think he'll pick it up quick. But it'll take a long time. It won't take a long time, I should say. So Wes is working really hard with him. We have a big group in that, tight end room. But as far as how many reps he's get, well, I'm sure he'll get some. I just don't know how many yet and how comfortable he is. But he's picking it up good so far.
Have you? What are you thinking about Junior Gillette and how he's getting into the defense and his health as well? Is he rehabbed as much?
He looks great. I'd say if we played tomorrow, I think he'd be out there ready to roll. He's playing fast, and he's got his strength back, and I think they took their time with him, which is very smart. I think he could have probably practiced a little bit sooner than he did, but we just want to make sure he had that full range of motion and full strength back, and he does, and he looks outstanding. So he'll help us whenever he can.
If the first team offense struggles against Baltimore, is there any scenario where they come back for the fourth preseason game, or will Saturday be all you need to see?
It depends. I think most likely that fourth preseason game is for key role players, backup type players, and it's a chance for them to start a game and see how they do. So obviously you'd love to have some positive energy going into the regular season with your ones, but I think the fourth preseason game is for the role guys.
Going back to the offensive line, you said how much confidence you have that they'll get everything done and be a good line and all that. What is it that you see as a group that you really like, one, and then two, you do have a young right side of the line. You have a quarterback who kind of needs a little bit more time, a cleaner pocket. What are some of the obstacles there? So first, like I said, what do you really like about the group overall?
I like how they're progressing every day. I understand that they're young and they haven't played together. That's an issue. Brandon has made the switch to right guard, obviously, and he's got some learning to do, but I think he's working his tail off, and I see him improving every day, and that's positive. I see him get beat from time to time every day too, but I also see him improving and working to get better. Same thing with Morgan Moses. They're not a finished product by any stretch, but I know that both of them are putting the work in and the time in. And when it's all said and done, they got the size, they got the strength, they got the footwork to be great offensive linemen. And just a matter of continuing to get that repetition and going through the calls and going through the process.
And when you do have a developing group like that, those two in particular, when you have a quarterback who maybe is kind of still figuring things out in the pocket, as a play caller, what challenges does that present for you?
It's a challenge a little bit. We tried to protect the quarterback, last week. We did 3-step drops. We did max play action. We chipped the ends, and unfortunately, we still didn't have the results we were looking for. So, it's just a matter of, like I said, trying to keep defenses off balance, number one, having a good, strong running game, number two, and then not trying to force the issue at the quarterback. Man, if it's not there, get the ball out of your hands or run and slide. And that's a decision that he's going to have to make on every play when he goes back to pass. But there are a lot of things we can do to help. Like I said, the running game, quick passes, screens, all that stuff. Thanks, everybody. All right.